because ever since I was really young, I was always having like these really intense realizations that I was meant to do something big for for my life, and I didn't want to just follow like what my parents said to just go straight to college and just go 4 years in debt without knowing what I really wanted. So instead, I decided after I graduated high school, of with all the money that I had saved up, to go travel to South America to live a lifestyle that I truly knew that was what I wanted, and that would also teach me skills that I could use for the rest of my life. You know, that would be
How
much
old
better.
were you, 18?
Yeah, I was 18 at that time. And then obviously my parents did not support it, or they didn't, yeah, because they thought it was like,
Crazy.
exactly. But then once I got down there and they saw how much it really changed my life, they really started to support it then.
Oh.
And so I was only going to stay there for 3 months, and like then I was going to go right back to college. But um, I decided to stay there for an entire year.
Oh.
Yeah.
When you stayed there, did you go to college there?
No,
Or
so
just you?
I did a training program. So I was actually learning about permaculture, which is like ways of growing food in a sustainable way for the planet. And basically, in a farm that had once been used for cattle farms that had been completely all the trees chopped down, we were able to rebuild it back up. And it's also a project that is helping save the planet, because all of the farms that people grow on cattle, they have to cut down all the trees and it destroys the forest. But this way of how we grow the food, it will still feed the people just as well, but it'll also keep the planet nice and healthy, and you don't have to cut down the trees, you know? Um, and you actually use the trees to give you the fruit. And so I went and lived there for a year and studied, and I was volunteering to help because I wanted to learn eventually how to how to have my own farm one day, and how to do all the stuff that they're doing. But basically, I didn't want to do it alone. I wanted to find the right kind of people that I not only felt like I really enjoyed being around them, but that we could all grow this community together. And instead of just me having my own farm in my own house, we could have all of our homes built right next to each other on the same land. And everybody there has their own gifts or talents or specialties, and we all help each other to basically be as self sustainable as we possibly can, so that we don't have to rely on the governments or anything else in like a major city for all of our resources. And that was the most life changing experience I had because,
You made your own world.
yeah, exactly. And it really came in handy because soon after I got there was a virus that was spreading around the globe. And not even 3 weeks after I got there, they shut down all the borders so that nobody could leave or exit the country and no one could come in. And they did the same thing throughout the whole world. They had a major lockdown where all the airports were shut down and all the travel. And it showed right there, like, very quickly, a lot of resources became harder to find, and people that were living in the cities had a very difficult life. But for me, especially with all the virus that was going around, but for me living in that community, we didn't have any outsiders coming in, so we didn't have to worry about any of that stuff that the whole world was panicking about. And it taught me right there, like, whenever there's a major global event or something like that, the safest thing that you can do is to have your own off grid community where you have all the resources you need and
Be
being fully,
independent.
yeah, because there might be shortages on food or gas or water or whatever it is that you need, which there was at the time when that happened. And we were safe and secure. We didn't have to worry about it because we had our own supplies.
You sometimes you come up with new things
Yeah.
that nobody else in the world knows.
That's exactly what we did actually, because nobody that lived out there in Ecuador thought that it was possible to start an entire community like how we did it, and to, instead of having to grow food that destroys the planet, finding a way that actually is good for the planet. That's what we discovered. It's a whole new way of farming, a whole new way of living. Not even just the way you grow your food, but how you do everything to make sure it's not producing any waste and that it's all good for the planet. There was no other places in the country, or really even in the world, doing that.
How old were you when you went?
I was 18. So, like,
Perfect age to start something.
yeah, it really was. And so when I was down there, I actually was able to find a community that, like, I lived with for a year, and I wanted to stay there for the long term, but with my visa I couldn't stay that long, so I just stayed for the year. And I pretty much said to myself, like, now that I'm living here in the US, I'm just going to be saving up all the money that I can so that, like, I'll be able to go back down there, or maybe find a new place that could be even better, and just keep this going, because honestly, I feel like it's the most rewarding, fulfilling lifestyle for me. And I can also have an online business where I can make money anywhere that I live. So that makes it a lot easier. One sec.